Hey guys, this is Dalton with Ironwood Barbell. I want to share with you a low frequency program that I've just put together. I've actually been running it for about 2 weeks myself. Progress has not stalled. I know it's only 2 weeks, but I've still added weight to my lifts. I've still felt better. And most importantly, I've been able to be in and out of the gym in 60 to 75 minutes. And I'm only there 2.5 days a week. So see here on the screen, it's a 3 day per week program technically, but this third day is like a 15 to 25 minute workout, so it's very short. So I'm gonna call this a 2.5 day sort of setup. If you only have 3 hours or so that you can dedicate to training per week, 2 evenings and maybe a 25-minute session in an afternoon, which is kind of my position. As summer fires up and things are getting busier, this might be a good option for you. Now, this is focused on developing the upper body, so we want to keep our chest, our back, we want to keep our biceps and our triceps growing, but we're not super worried about our lower body. We don't care if our lower body kind of stalls. We just don't want it to go backwards. So there's going to be enough frequency in there for pretty much anybody to keep where they are, to hold the line, and you probably will be able to grow on this. But just know that this is not focused on driving your squat up. If your squat is your focus, if your deadlift is your focus, you could very easily tweak this. Just let me know if that is actually something you're interested in doing, and we can go into details on that. But for now, we're going to go over this as it is set up, intended to drive up the bench press, to keep the lower body where it needs to be, and to just develop more muscle mass and strength in the upper body. So again, 3 days per week, technically 2.5 days. Day one, it's going to be volume squats and presses with intensity bench. We're going to start the day out with squats because they are the hardest. This is the only time technically that I am going to have anyone squat on this program. It's the only time I'm only time I'm squatting. So I do a 5x5 session of squats at 80 to 85% of my current 5 rep max. So for example, if your 5 rep max is 375, 80% of that would be 300 pounds. So you're going to go ahead and do 5 sets of 5 with 300 pounds. After that, go ahead and unrack the bar, warm up your bench, and this is going to be the heaviest lift of the day relative to your actual capability within the lift. It's going to be one super heavy set of 5 deadlifts, or excuse me, of 5 bench presses. Ideally, this is a new PR. It's a new 5 rep max, and you're going to be adding weight every 2.5 pounds or so every week. We're trying to hit a PR. Regardless, though, even if you can't hit a PR, you still want to have a really hard set of 5. After that single set of bench press, we're going to move on. We're going to go straight to overhead pressing, and we're going to do 5 sets of 5 in the same structure as we did with our squats. So we got a lot of volume for our lower back and for our lower body. We did a little bit of intensity work with our upper body before we move on and do volume work with our upper body. So this is going to be pumping a lot of blood into the shoulders. Now, your current 5 rep max for your overhead press, suppose, is 175 pounds. You'll do the same thing you did with the squat and take between 80 and 90%. I have 85 to 90% set here because most people's press lags behind their squat. It's less total weight. Again, trying to add weight every week to that 5x5 for as long as we can. After that, bench press variation, 3 sets of 8 to 12. Use it to address weak points. So me, for example, I use close grip bench press a lot if I'm trying to work my triceps more, or I'll use a dumbbell bench press if I'm trying to stretch out my pecs and work on my chest a little bit more. And the final movement of the day is going to be 2 to 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps of a tricep isolation. It can be cable press downs, skull crushers, French presses, whatever you'd like to do, something that feels pretty good on your joints and that you can get a good pump at in that 8 to 12 rep range without hurting your elbows, and you really feel your triceps just swell up. That's day one. That's the longest slog of the week. That being said, it's not as bad as you think. 80% 5x5 is heavy. You're going to be breathing hard. That's the point. But 80% on the pressing, with the squats, you might need 5 minutes between each set. So this takes 25 to 35 minutes. The flat bench, you should be done with this in 10 minutes if you're moving. And then the press, you only need 2 to 3 minutes per set, or between each set, in order to keep yourself rested and keep going. So even though this lift takes a little while and this lift takes a little bit too, All of the rest moves really, really quick, so you should still be able to knock this out in 75 minutes, so hour and 15. And if you just can't, if you find yourself needing to get rid of something, you can always get rid of the bench press variation. After all, you did a heavy set of flat bench, so your chest is fatigued, your triceps are fatigued, your overhead pressing is going to help keep your shoulders, your front delts from moving backwards, and you're going to be bench pressing the next day that you're in the gym. So that's day one. Day two, this is going to be, for me, 2 days later. So I do this first one on Tuesdays, and then I do the second workout on Fridays. So I've got Wednesday and Thursday off. We're going to now go in and 5x5 our flat bench. So we drop the weight. If, let's suppose this first day was a 5 rep max at 300 pounds, we're going to drop the weight back 80%, and we're going to do a set of a 5x5 session. Just like with the flat bench intensity day or the squat volume day, we're trying to add 2.5 pounds every week. The weight must go up. That is ultimately how things move forward. Once you're done with the 5x5, move on to incline dumbbell press, 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 12. We're going to start out at 2. If you find that you still have some gas in the tank and you want, you can always add a third set. After that, curl variation, same criteria as the tricep isolation. Pick a variation that does not mess with your joints. If straight barbell curls hurt your wrists, don't do them. Use an easy curl bar, use dumbbells, use cables. There's a lot of options here. You don't have to overthink it. The point here is just to really pre-fatigue your biceps before moving on to chin-ups, where you're going to do 3 sets of as many reps as possible. If you are capable and strong enough to do a lot of chins, you should find that all this curling before doing the chins really makes your sets of 15 drop down to like a set of 10, a set of 8, a set of 5, or something like that. And if you can't do chin-ups, that's fine. Use an assisted pull-up machine or a lat pull-down. You're just going to do the same kind of mentalities you might have seen in the 852. When you're using a pull-down, you're going to shoot for sets of 8 to 12. Again, 3 sets is plenty. Just make sure that they're nice and hard, and that last rep, whether it's 8 or 12, or in the range, is difficult. This workout will be ended off with dips or push-ups, whichever one you would like to do, depending on how your shoulders feel. Starting with 20 reps AMSANs. That's as many sets as necessary. So I don't care if it takes 4 sets of 5 because your chest is just smoked. You're going to get 20 reps. Week by week, every 1 to 2 weeks, add 5 reps until you're hitting 30 to 40 reps each time. And then you can, if you hit 40 reps and you're like just knocking out push-ups and you are doing a whole set of 40 after all of this weight's not heavy enough, you're not actually pushing very hard, and you need to increase something over here. Last day of the week is pretty straightforward. 1 set of 5 deadlift. Warm up properly, do a set of 5. Ideally, again, it's a 5 rep max. You always want it to be heavy. You always want it to be as hard as you can push. But if it's not a PR, that's not the end of the world. The point is you have to learn to strain to push against a heavy weight for more reps than you want to. So you might get to 3 reps and feel like, man, I don't have 2 more in me. But guess what? You probably do. So you keep pushing. You get a hard set of 5. And then you adjust based on how that was. If it was super hard and like you barely got that last rep, it's okay to go ahead and say, all right, I'm going to do the same weight next week. But you should try to do more. The worst thing that happens is that it doesn't come off the floor. You miss a rep. It's not the end of the world. After that, you're going to do a couple sets of Romanian deadlifts, 2 sets of 6 to 8 reps. These should be modestly heavy for an RDL, but they are going to be way lighter than your deadlift. So you can adjust this depending on how smoked you are. If you failed on the 5th rep, you got halfway up and then dropped it because it truly dragged itself back down to the floor on your deadlift, you could omit these. If the deadlift this week you picked a weight that was just too light, so suppose you picked 315 and you pulled it and that last rep just flew off the floor, you hit the top. I mean, it was hard, you're breathing hard, but that weight was too light, you could have done 30 or 40 pounds more. That's okay. Don't do another set this week. Just mark that down in your logbook and make these RDLs a little bit harder. Maybe do them dead stop style. That's my preferred method of an RDL, where you lower it down, almost touch the ground, like the weight just kisses the deadlift platform, and then comes back up under good control. Last thing I'll go ahead and mention related to this is just noted there, you probably already read it. You might not like to deadlift before squatting or without squatting. Some people don't. Some people like to use the squat as a good warm-up. Personally, I don't care. I can warm up a deadlift and not squat. I would rather deadlift than squat. So you can do that if you'd like. If you need to warm up, if you feel that just jumping right into deadlifts scares you, you don't want to do it. Do 3 sets of 5 at between 70 and 80% of your sets of 5 on day one. You don't want them to be heavy. They might still feel kind of heavy because you still may be carrying some fatigue from that first day. That's okay if they feel a little bit heavy. Just 70%, knock out 3 sets of 5, good form, move on, do your deadlifts. So there's a low frequency program for all you busy people out there. Summertime's firing up. The kids are going to be out of school soon. After school programs are kicking in, sports, gardening, all the things. So my life's getting busy. This is what I've been doing. It's what I'm going to continue to be doing, focused on driving up my bench press, driving up my upper body growth, and letting my lower body kind of back down. I'm trying not to lose muscle. I'm not worried about pushing it forward, but I'm going to if I can. And this is a great option for you. If you have any questions about how to implement this, leave them in the comments down below. Send me an email, strength.ironwood@gmail.com, or just comment in the group if you're a Barbell Club member. This is for anybody and everybody that needs a good option to get work done and make progress under 3 hours a week. So there you go, guys. I hope you have a good day. Enjoy. Go get stronger.